In the year 581, a group of Chinese migrants drifting far off the coast in their wooden junks came upon a lush green island rising out of the South China Sea. A landing was made, and in time a colony grew. These early colonists named their discovery Taiwan, which means terraced bay. People of the Western world know this island as Formosa, meaning beautiful, the name given to it by Portuguese mariners who first sighted it in 1519. Lying like an emerald leaf in the vast eastern Pacific basin, Formosa, with its more than 10 million people, is about the size of our state of Maryland. The island has but two real seasons, a short, rainy winter and a long, humid summer cooled by seasonal winds, some of which reach typhoon intensity. Formosa has known many masters over the centuries. In 1634, the Dutch made a brief attempt at colonization, and in the city now known as Tainan, built this rugged stone fortress called Zealandia. The Chinese patriot, General Koxinga, drove out the Dutch in 1661, and for a time re-established Taiwanese independence. With the death of General Koxinga in 1683, the island fell under the rule of the Manchu dynasty. In 1894, a dispute over control of Korea arose with Japan. In the ensuing war, the Japanese armies easily vanquished the poorly equipped and trained Chinese. To the victor belongs the spoils. Taiwan and her small neighboring island, the Pescadores, were ceded to Japan as a partial indemnity payment in the Treaty of 1895. The Japanese, who then controlled the island until the close of World War II, called it the Land of High Mountains. Despite the many outside influences over the centuries, the Formosans have remained truly Chinese. There has been no intermarriage with the island Aborigines and very little with the Japanese. Today they are a pure, vigorous, and vital race. Their dialects and customs are but little altered from those of their ancestors in Fujian province on the China mainland. All of her many colorful names, beautiful, terraced bay, land of high mountains, can present but a surface glimpse of Taiwan, for her real destiny is in the hearts of her people. Today they stand alone as the home and last hope of free China. The backbone and lifeblood of Formosa is agriculture. Nowhere else in Asia is the farmer more happy and prosperous, for now a government-sponsored system of land reform has made it possible for the tenant farmers to buy their farms. The landowners receive 70% of the value of the land in cash, the remainder in the form of stocks in government-owned industries. Thus today, the Taiwan farmer's proudest boast is always this: for the first time in his life, He owns the soil on which he works. Nearly every farmer has his patient, slow-moving water buffalo to help him turn the earth. Waterfowl are always plentiful, for duck, prepared in any of 100 different ways, is a delicacy on any Chinese menu. With American advice and technical assistance, Formosa is rapidly becoming an agricultural show window for all of Southeast Asia. Her land areas are limited, and to keep pace with the ever-growing population, farming methods must constantly be improved to give a higher crop yield. The average farm family of 7 working adults and numerous small children subsists unbelievably on 3 acres of ground. Nowhere else on earth is the land so intensively cultivated. Not a single square foot of tillable soil is wasted. Rice, of course, is the staple food of the people and the nation's #1 crop. The island's subtropical climate is so ideal for its growth that in many areas 2 crops a year can be harvested with an annual total of more than 2 million tons. Taiwan is unique among Asian countries in that she grows more rice than she needs. 200,000 tons a year are exported to Japan and Southeast Asia. Rice needs, besides plenty of water, much back-breaking hand cultivation. There is a folk song popular among Asian people, the refrain of which goes, "Planting rice is never fun. Bend your back till setting sun." The choicest rice on earth, called Fan Lai, is grown by these methods in these fields. Taiwan cane sugar is known and used around the world. It is the island's leading export crop and brings in over $100 million a year, more than 1/2 of the total export revenue. 500,000 people live on the proceeds of the sugar industry, most of them farmers who plant under contract to the Taiwan Sugar Corporation. During the harvest season, every member of the farmer's family works in the fields, cutting and bringing in the sugar cane. The workday begins at sunrise and ends at dark. No small farmer can afford cutting machinery, a tractor, or a truck. His only power tools are his family and the good muscles of his back and arms. For transportation to the sugar mills, he relies on the ponderous, slow-moving water buffalo. The farmers of free China have come far in 10 short years. Despite limited land areas and lack of modern machinery, they are now able to produce ample food for all the island's people, and even export a surplus to other less fortunate countries. No beggars ever roam the city streets, for famine and hunger are now unknown on Taiwan. During these pioneer years of development and modernization, America is playing an important role in her progress, not only in rural areas, but also in industry. Have you ever wondered what happens to your old car after its useful life is ended? The answer might well be here at the Tang Ing Iron Works in the city of Kaohsiung in southern Taiwan. Here, scrap metal purchased from the United States is resmelted into the hundreds of steel items needed by a young and growing nation. Nails, wire, construction steel. Even the frame of the student's bicycle might have once been part of the frame of your 1940 Chevrolet. The fires in the Tang Ing furnaces never died. In the last decade, melted scrap metal has enriched the Formosan economy with more than 100,000 tons of quality steel per year. Never in history has there been a shortage of labor in the Orient. For hundreds of years, the Chinese have devised ingenious methods of replacing heavy machinery with mass human muscle. Now, more than ever, is this true on Formosa, as a flood tide of thousands of refugees from the mainland pours over the island in the hopes of finding work in one of the new industries. And work is found for all who come. In 10 years, more than 6,600 new factories of all kinds have been built, and all are expanding and prospering. This mushrooming of industrialization has raised the Formosan standard of living to a place in the Orient second only to that of Japan. Petroleum was discovered in Taiwan long before the first oil strike in Pennsylvania. Yet, for over 100 years, this priceless resource lay dormant and untapped. Even as late as 1947, only one small crude oil distillation plant was in operation. Today, the Chinese Petroleum Company operates 3 large distillation units, as well as the thermal cracking unit for the production of high-octane gasoline. Other units recover and refine the byproducts of petroleum once wasted. These include coal tar, asphalt, kerosene, mineral oil, and chemical dyes. Oil, traditionally used in past centuries to keep the flickering lamps burning, now turns the wheels of industry and powers the jet planes of free China. Nowhere is the Chinese workman's skill with his hands more evident than in Formosa's cottage industries. These thousands of miniature factories, often owned and operated by members of a single family, are an essential part of the country's economy. Building material industries are expanding to keep pace with the boom in new construction. Brick factories dot the countryside, especially in the southern and central areas of the island. Here, women workers display the skill and strength of men as they move the heavy carts about. Wet bricks are first sun-dried on outdoor racks, then heat-cured in huge kilns. Final delivery to the building contractor is accomplished with the old, reliable ox cart. Charcoal factories are a small but important industry in cities and villages where wood and twigs for the kitchen fires are scarce. Bamboo trays full of cornstarch are set out to dry each morning. By evening, the sun and wind have evaporated the thick liquid to a powder to be packaged and made into puddings and confections around the world. Unmarried girls, when working out of doors, cover themselves from head to foot in sun-protecting clothing. Only their smiling eyes show from beneath the woven bamboo coolie hats perched upon their closely wrapped heads. Homemade egg noodles drying on bamboo racks by the roadside may not tempt the appetite in this form, but when simmered together with freshly cut cabbage and a savory chicken broth, it's an outdoor cafeteria-style banquet for the children of Taiwan.